everyone, and welcome back to America's favorite morning talk show, Early Mornings with Almond Rose. And today I have a special guest who starred in, produced, written, and edited the new indie movie Desperate to Be Okay. Everyone welcome Naima LaRose! Thank you for having me online. So I have some questions for you, and the first one is, how does your product use or challenge conventions, and how does it represent social groups or issues? So start with how your new film uses conventions. Desperate to Be Okay fits the teen drama and coming to age genre. A typical standard that these movies, in my opener, share is rebellion. My co-star, Vanessa Belmore, plays Kanan, who is shown stealing a sandwich from a gas station. But this is not just out of pure rebellion. It's also desperate measures, because she does not have the money to properly feed herself. Her rebellion is also shown when she's the first one to mention the idea of robbing a house. Even though she's the most rebellious, my character Zuri can also fit this criteria as she's quick to agree, as well as my co-stars Danielle Gordon's character, Destiny, who agrees after a flashback of her difficult life. They show rebellion to the system and authority as they go with the idea of robbing a house just to have a stable life. A movie with this convention is 13, which shows two young girls descend into delinquency and protest to a complicated home life, trying to find joy somewhere else. Another convention of a teen drama, coming to age genre is self-discovery and internal conflicts. A focus point of self-discovery is our character Destiny, who is in a state of weakness all throughout the opener. Finding out she and her family are being evicted, her morals being tested by her friends, and a flashback to an intimate scene of her mother's car declining all point to her mental state of weakness. Her idea of coping with these struggles is to hide from them, which therefore makes her want to hide herself. We can see this in her reluctance, as well as her clothing choices, which are much more baggier than the other main characters. Her agreement to the plan is her trying to take control of her life and to stop hiding from her problems. An example of this convention is Never Have I Ever, which is an Indian American teenager finding herself after the death of her dad. Additionally, another convention we have is peer relationships. Even though it is just an opener, we see a glimpse of the tight-knit relationship that the girls share, which is common in a lot of teen dramas. An example of this convention in media is the Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants that follows four best friends in summer. One more convention is the classic scenes in one of the main characters' bedroom, where the plot moves forward and shocking confessions and dangerous ideas come out, like how the girls form the idea of a heist in the character's Kanan room. An instance of media is One Tree Hill, where the bedroom of the main character Peyton is where a lot of the drama pushes forward. So now, how does your film challenge conventions? There are many conventions of the teen drama / coming to age genre that we challenge. Very often, you will see these movies be filmed in high schools like Mean Girls. But we don't have any scenes in a school to make it seem like they do not have a community. A depiction of a high school can create the assumption that the girls have access to trusted adults and other peers, but I do not want to show that. I wanted to create a sense of loneliness by making the girls seem isolated. I also wanted to prove that school is not their priority. The scene of my character Zuri in her bedroom with an old test that says 51% see me placed on her bed with other clutter can further prove that point. We can also challenge the narrative of classic character roles like the outcast, the popular girl, the nerd, and the jock, like in many teen dramas. She's All That is an example. We do have one character, Kanan, who is the rebellious one. This trope sometimes appears in movies in this genre. But we also have other character tropes like the reluctant one and the messy one. These tropes are not represented in media. Another classic convention we do not include is romance, which is almost the most defining trait of teen dramas and coming to age movies. Romance is almost portrayed in every single movie in this genre. However, that's the girls' last thing on their mind. They would rather wish to be comfortable and stable before pursuing romance and not have to worry about stuff like having a house to sleep in. One more convention in movies in this genre that we do not have is a voiceover of one of the main characters giving their personal thoughts, like in Clueless. We wanted to give a more mysterious aura. We have the audience to make assumptions and ideas of the mentality of the girls from what is being shown on screen. Please explain how your film represents social groups and issues. Our film represents many different social groups. A clear group that we're representing that is noticeable from the start is 3 black girl main characters. In media today, it's very hard to find a black female main character, especially 3 of them. Often or not, there is a black main character. It's male. These singular main characters are often called the token black guy in media. The term derived from the show South Park, where the only black character's name is token black. So, with diversity with black male main characters already extremely limited, you can imagine that the swimming pool of black female main characters is even smaller. So having 3 black main characters who are female can serve as representation for the entire black community. The most recent examples of black main characters in media is Black Panther, Blackish, and Insecure. We also represent social groups who are low income. Our opener shows off the struggles that people who have problems go through every single day and the lengths they will go through to get out of the predicament. Many of those who are in lower tax brackets can relate to the scuffles that the girls have to suffer with. To also tie it back into the representation of black people in media, we don't depict the usual idea of lower income black Americans. The stereotypical ghetto black American practically controls the media. Examples of this are Boys in the Hood. We don't have the girls act over the top or show them act violent and aggressive, which is a typical view of melanated people struggling with money. Of course, this depiction is not true for the entire population, yet it's usually what is shown in media. So representation of the group of the girls struggling with money can represent a large population of people in America who are in lower income, but also challenge the stereotypes that black people with money issues all act the same. We also represent those who have family issues like my character Zuri, whose problem is not just money but her parents' instability. We can see this in the scene where her parents are arguing. She is pretty distressed about it, but she's used to it, which is signified her just closing the door, and instead of wondering what's happening, she just closes her ears. She's also representing those from Haiti, with immigrant parents. Her parents are heard arguing Haitian Creole, a language spoken by people from Haiti. So it's implied that her parents are not American, but Haitian, making her Haitian as well. The opener does not only represent other Haitian American kids, but also kids of immigrant parents in general. There is barely any representation of immigrant families in America. The only one I could think of is Off the Boat, which is about an Asian family moving to America. Additionally, there is close to no Haitian or Haitian American representation in the media today that is not negative. Often the assumptions are false and biased. So Opener is the first in pop culture that actually represents Haitians. The only piece of media that's known about Haitian families that I know of is Wonder Man on Disney+. That's very nice. So how does your product engage with audiences? How would it be distributed if it was a real media text? So if you wouldn't mind, start with how it engages with audiences. Throughout the film, we tried our best to create a sense of vulnerability and intimacy to get the audience attention by creating a connection. The film shows the helplessness of the girls as the camera follows each girl's personal struggles that share a common ground: lack of money. The audience can feel close with the characters, as they know the deeper problem that each girl faces. For example, the main problem is the lack of financial stability, but my character Zuri also has family issues, with a toxic home life. So the audience can infer why she will agree to do a house heist, not just to be financially stable, but also to end the root of her parents and therefore her family's deteriorating relationship. I also ended the opener with a cliffhanger, ending it right where the character Destiny finally agrees, cutting it off right before the juicy storyline can develop. The final line, "Fine, let's do it," can send shivers down spines and make the audience go wow. With the connection that the audience has with the characters and the ending happening right before the actual drama happens, the audience can want to stay for the rest of the movie. Not just to root for the characters that they are not devoted to seeing be successful, but to also see how they will even plan such a dangerous idea and the possible consequences that can occur. Now, how would it be distributed as a real media text? Desperate to Be Okay is an indie movie created by V&N Productions with a lower budget that focuses much more on creative storytelling than blockbuster effects. This means that it will primarily be distributed through digital platforms and streaming services. These can be Amazon Freevee and Tubi, which based off my personal experience and research are some of the best places to find indie movies and are where many indie movie lovers go to seek out new movies. Other places that our movie can be distributed to is Netflix and platforms that require renting or purchasing movies separately like Google Play and Vimeo. But first, the movie has to get on these platforms, which is where aggregators get in. They handle delivery to streaming services, and examples are FilmHub and Bitmax. Additionally, this movie will be marketed through film festivals. These festivals, like Sundance, can attract many movie lovers and can be an amazing place to market. We are also in the age of social media, where we can target campaigns to niche groups who would like movies like these, like Haitian Americans who are never represented. But we can also make our own niche group for the movie itself based off social media campaigns. Desperate to Be Okay will most likely not reach mainstream media and mainstream movie theaters like AMC and Regal. But we can still show the movie in independent theaters that specialize in showing indie movies like mine. Now, if I may ask, how do your production skills develop throughout this project? Ever since I started this project, I have seen personal growth as a filmmaker. First of all, I learned how to plan a movie as a writer. I never knew that creating a movie requires so much over-the-top planning. Not just when people are available, but also when where is acceptable and the continuity. While planning, the continuity and the logicality of each scene was very hard to keep track of. But overall, I managed to push through in the original screenplay, even though I still made many mistakes. I caught on to these mistakes when I was trying to execute the scene. For example, who gets up first when we're all lying on the bed, and how can I relate it to the next shot? I fixed these mistakes in my second screenplay, and now I'm much better at visualizing scenes in my head so that they can make sense when I'm trying to execute them. I learned how to edit from Danielle Gordon, who was in our group but left the class before we could actually start the editing process. She was supposed to do the editing, but with her gone, it was in my hands now. So Danielle decided to teach me. With her help, I learned how to do many different things. To begin, I learned how to cut and film music. When I finally sat down with all the shots that we had, I realized that they were very long. So after Daniel taught me how to cut, I did some cutting. An example is the scene of the character Destiny walking up to her evicted house. The scene was originally 30 seconds, until I cut it down to lower than 15 seconds. Additionally, I wanted to do complex music editing, but I did not know how to. In some areas, I wanted the music to be low, some areas I wanted to be loud, and some areas I wanted to match the transitions of the clips, and many more over-the-top details. With all these special editing techniques for the music, I once again needed Danielle's help and her techniques. After she taught me how to keyframe to make one section louder than the other and how to fade, I was on my way to apply all I learned throughout the opener. Another trick she taught me was how to make the filter much more saturated. I loved the filter I found, called Dunkirk, but the only problem was that in certain scenes it didn't pop out as much as it did in other scenes. So Danielle taught me how to handle the saturation and how to make it as deep as I like. Now, as a filmmaker, I'm much more better in planning and enhancing my own work in editing. My favorite thing about filmmaking is the editing, because it's very enjoyable seeing all the work I've done so far and all the visualizing I did come to life in the final product. I also love the visualization itself, through the screenplay and the storyboards that we created for our opener. Even though at the beginning I had some problems imagining what should be depicted on the screen, I honestly think that it was the most fun experience, and it's even pushing me to think of a career in film directing. My least favorite aspect, however, is acting, as my acting has shown no improvement throughout this project, even though I watched videos from professionals on how to properly act. So for sure, with my career progress, I would never wish to be an actor, as once the camera turns on, I get completely nervous. Lastly, How do you interrogate technologies, software, hardware, and online in this project? The editing software I used was CapCut. This is because it is new editor friendly, and I had a prior experience with it from a past project where I had to make a story with sound. It was also the best option because my teacher, Danielle's, best work was on CapCut. But just because it's prompt to be easy for new users, that's only for the basics. Using much more dynamic and special editing tools will require an actual understanding and deep experience on the app that I did not have. But my ex-team member / teacher, Danielle, did have. While filming, I learned how to use an actual film camera. I always viewed cameras as overly complicated and that I would never understand how to use them. But it was pretty easy to use after my team member, Vanessa, taught me. I filmed on both my phone and on Vanessa's film camera, even though we just used my iPhone 16 because it just had better video quality. I still gained the skills on how to use it, and these skills I can use in the future when I have an actual film camera to use. I also learned how to zoom in, zoom out on film cameras and how to keep the camera in focus. I also learned how to transfer and send videos and clips from my iPad and my phone to my desktop by connecting them with a cord. Not just for editing, but also for blogging. My use of blogging taught me how to post and maintain a proper blog, and how to embed videos and photos into said blog to keep them engaging. But honestly, I did not use that different sorts of equipment like microphones and lighting, other than mastering how to use the basics. I definitely feel like we could have used a microphone in some scenes, especially in the scene at Walmart, where it was very loud and the dialogue got slightly messed up. I could have also used some more lighting in the bedroom scenes as they feel much more darker than the other scenes. Well, so thank you so much for being on my show. No, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.